Project Veritas released an undercover investigation report Tuesday with insiders using hidden cameras to document censorship occurring at the social media giant Facebook. Now, Zach McElroy's story raises doubts about the Capitol Hill testimony the Facebook CEO gave, which implied the company takes down content that could cause harm, but not for politics. Now, Zach is joining us now. Zach, thank you very much for being with us this morning. Now, in the beginning of the report, we hear you say, quote, "I am brave more than I am scared." Very powerful words. Now, many people are curious why you decided to reach out to Project Veritas specifically, and what kind of reaction have you seen after the video's release?
Thank you for having me. Well, I think tech censorship is one of the greatest issues we face leading into the 2020 election, and I think time is running out. We need to see something actually happen about these tech monsters that we see doing basically whatever they want with impunity. I think that what we would like to see at the end of this is a great sort of push for legislative action, because I feel like that's the only thing that we have left that we can do. I feel like we've seen Mark Zuckerberg testify and say all these things so many times before and placate, but nothing's ever actually happened. So I'm hoping that this will be a catalyst for some great change.
I'm sure many people are also hoping that. Now, we know that you wore a hidden camera. How was that experience, and how long did you wear it? Also, did you ever get close to being catched? Did anyone catch on to this?
Yeah, so actually wearing the camera was quite natural for me. I thought it would be a little bit more of a harrowing experience, but I was actually not quite so concerned about it. It might be just because they're so well hidden. But yeah, fortunately, I don't think I ever had too many experiences where people seemed to catch on. So it was fortunately a very comfortable experience for me.
Well, it's a lot of good footage that you got there, and it's, the best way to see it is just coming from the source directly, and you were able to provide that there with that hidden camera. Very important. Now, Facebook CEO, as you mentioned, Mark Zuckerberg, he's testified under oath to both the House and the Senate committees that there was no censorship of political speech on Facebook and that there was no bias against Republicans and the president. We saw otherwise in that video. Our viewers have to see it if they haven't seen it. So what is your biggest fear if this continues?
Oh, well, like I said, this is the biggest issue leading into the 2020 election. Something like this, whether they even plan to influence the election or not, it's going to. Something like this has consequences. These things where you leave up images of Donald Trump getting his throat slit, yet you delete memes for having Elmer Fudd shooting Beto O'Rourke. Some of these things that you see in the video are just so absurd, and they have consequences. I think that the primary issue with the censorship that we're seeing and the bias is going to be in an immediate sense, election. Well, we'll say negative implications for the election, and perhaps in the long term we'll see things like, you can't have a conservative movement if you can't have a free speech platform for everybody to speak their minds. I think this is a big problem for the future of conservative politics.
And I would also like to add, if it was, a conservative company, if Facebook was a conservative company, then Democrats should also be worried that in the future, a company would have such control over our freedom of speech. So it's something that everyone should be worried about, especially these big media tech giants that we've seen. We saw President Trump's tweet on Project Veritas report get censored. It was also flagged, and we saw Project Veritas also the same, along with their tweet, get flagged as sensitive content. And right before I let you go, a quick thing that I noticed there in the video, a lot of the employees mention a possible scenario of what they would do on their last day. Are these not permanent employees? And do we expect to see new employees coming in and also continuing this trend?
Well, they were permanent employees until they were laid off, but yes, they were proper full-time employees. And, a case can be made or argued about, well, this was their last day. They decided to go rogue on their last day. I don't believe that's the case. I think that they always had this bias and perhaps exerted their influence and abused their power. But because they were perhaps afraid of their job performance, because if they're doing the job improperly, that could affect their, that could get them fired, basically. I think that perhaps a lot of the more extreme employees were doing this a lot longer than just the last day. I think they just became comfortable saying that they were doing it because it was their last day.
Very important information. We really appreciate all the work that you did. Thank you very much for your time, Zach.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.